was thinking, the White House press briefings are just a little bit different nowadays. You know, and obviously you have somebody at the helm, right? You have Caroline Leavitt, but it almost seems like the press is more tame. Don't get me wrong, the questions are still just as dumb, but the atmosphere, the way the room is handled, just seems a lot more respectful towards the office of the presidency and the mouthpiece of the leader of the free world, the White House press secretary. I don't know if anybody else picked that up yesterday, but it's something I was thinking about this morning of just how different the press briefings are since when we first started covering them 4.5 years ago to now. And, not that I'm against it. I'm just saying it's not exactly a content builder, if that makes sense. Well, Patriots, it's good to see all of you in the chat. Yeah, we're back, baby, with a Friday episode. Now, if you're new here, welcome. Let us know if you are new in the chat or the comment section, guys. We want to shout you out. It's a big deal that you're able to, one, be here, and second, you chose our channel to come hang out with. So God bless you for that one. And yes, good morning, everybody. Well, here we go. Let's jump in the news. We got more information on the Minnesota's manifesto, the transgender individual that committed that heinous crime. So newly deciphered writings have come out within the last 48 hours. From the trans-identified shooter who attacked a Minneapolis Catholic school, revealed his anguish over his gender identity, sparking a fierce national debate over the motive for the massacre. Remember how the police chief comes out and goes, well, we don't really have a motive. It's like, really? I mean, the guy has videos online. He has writings all over his ammunition casings. He has it on his magazines. He's like written it on his rifles and his pistol grips. I mean, a little bit of a motive kind of everywhere. It's kind of thrown in your face. Well, according to a translation from the New York Post, the writings reveal a deep internal struggle. I don't think we needed a manifesto to figure that one out. Look, I'm not trying to be a jerk towards trans people. I am just saying that obviously there's an internal struggle going on. We all have internal struggles. If you go delete a bunch of little kids, yeah, clearly there's something off with you automatically. But second of all, if you're a trans person, it's not possible. I know I'm repeating myself. I know you want it to be. I know you pray for it, even though you're probably not religious whatsoever. That internal struggle will always be there because you can't transition. It is not possible. You can make believe. But when you make believe on things like that, guess what? There's another internal struggle because you're not delving in reality with the rest of us. And if you have to try to morphosize and transition what reality is and expect everybody to play into that fictitious reality, that's a problem. It is, and it will never get better. Matter of fact, it will only get worse. Quote, I am tired of being trans. Sure you are. I wish I never brainwashed myself. There's one for you. I regret being trans. I wish I was a girl. I just know I cannot achieve that body with the technology we have today. I guess I'm agreeing with a psycho, which is really freaky deaky, by the way, and I don't like it, but there you go. And I've always said, maybe one day you'll be able to transition. Maybe AI will figure it out. And by the way, I think it will. I think one day AI is going to develop and the human race will be able to develop where you'll be able to switch races. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But quite frankly, it doesn't matter how I feel. Many in the right are pointing out to a growing number of mass shootings committed by transgender offenders and are arguing that affirming a transgender identity, which they view as a form of mental illness, it is a mental illness. Why are we being silly here? Not that we as on the right view it as a mental illness. It is a mental illness. Creates mental anguish that could lead to violence. Absolutely. Well, case in point, what we've seen, most recently twice now. And they're wondering and investigating if there's a link between gender affirming drugs. And I'm curious as to when those gender affirming drugs were put in place, because does that alter any sort of brain development and lead to just a bunch of, chaos and a bunch of mentally ill people? And as I mentioned, we clearly have an opioid problem in this country. I mean, Dr. Drew from Loveline, for those that are the old folks, right? When we used to have to listen to the radio, get people calling in Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. Well, they've always talked about how drugs have just been masking problems. We got an opioid problem. You're not actually going after the key issue. Like when you ever listen to Loveline and somebody's talking about how they're having some sort of struggle in life or they have whatever going on, he always asks, was there any trauma that happened to you at a young age? Oh, I guarantee you there's some sort of trauma that happened you just aren't realizing yet. Because usually some sort of trauma, or I don't know, maybe, gee, where was it? Being brainwashed is a kind of an issue. So we'll keep you up to date if there's any more stuff that's coming out. There's video and stuff of what took place. I'm not going to show little kids running out of a church in the morning. It's not fun. Speaking of church, some lady commented on my video. Give me 1 second. And I think I might have mentioned that the kids were in school, because they were. And she writes, well, they were in a church. They weren't in a school. Like, what's the point of that comment? You know what I mean? It's always odd to me that you have an entire, 60 seconds to package an entire news story, again, into 60 seconds. And they are in school, except the school doesn't contain all the kids, so they had to go to a church that's, right next door to it, by the way. And it's still school. Well, they were in church. They weren't in school. Who cares? It doesn't take away from anything of the story. Why would you even bother commenting on that? People are insane, is what I'm getting at. People are insane. Well, again, Jen Psaki was the punching bag yesterday, and rightfully so, because, going after people that pray. Again, I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse with the praying part, because power of prayer is effective. It's important. God, the scriptures, Jesus Christ is our comforter. Yeah, he can also be the person that slaps us around a little bit when we need it, but he's also a comforter, and people need times of comfort right now, and they need a lot of angels around them. Power of prayer is effective. I don't care what anybody says to me. I don't care if an atheist doesn't agree with me. I don't even care if somebody of the same faith doesn't agree with me. I think it's important. Well, it's not just what happens in Minneapolis that's leading to chaos. We're bringing back the UK, man. I really do think in the next couple years, we're going to see mega violence over there in Europe. And I wish we had still Shib in the chat. Matter of fact, I might reach out to him personally and see if he can give us any information on what the hell's going on with his nation. Because flagging movement sweeps UK amid migrant backlash. So here's some updates for you. So that's that new movement called flagging that we covered the other day, right? Where basically these UK's men and women are posting their own country's flag on light poles because you have a massive influx of illegal immigrants that are there, but also just migrants in general from the third world that are changing their culture. It's changing their country to where it's not even recognizable anymore. Look at this. The organic movement involves citizens raising the Union Jack and the current flags, right? We covered this yesterday. It leads to a number of rapies and assaults on people. But their numbers are going through the roof, and they don't know what to do about it, and they don't know how to fix it. And quite frankly, I don't know how you fix it either. Well, because you can't exactly just start deporting people that are citizens of your own country that came the right way, that are causing your country's culture to change. That's kind of your fault. And by the way, you know how there's a lot of people in our country that go, well, we need the immigration system to be fixed. It needs to be faster. 100% disagree. And I've always said this. There is no reason why we should be fast to start just bringing in everybody and start signing the paperwork as quickly as we possibly can. No, sir. No, sir. Don't think so. Why? Because when you tend to move fast, you tend to make mistakes. And when you tend to make mistakes, it leads to drastic consequences. And when you start letting in people that don't want to assimilate to your own country, guess what happens to your country? You lose it. And for some ungodly reason, people are not able to go from point A to point C without issuing B. They're not able to get to that leap. What I mean by that is a lot of people, mostly on the Democrat side of the aisle, they have to think, okay, long line to get into the country, so we should go fast so they can get in the country. But they stop there in their thinking. They don't actually go, well, what consequences? What are all the variables? The contributions is what we call it in statistics when you're doing hypothesis testing in a chi-square test. What are all the contributions that are involved into doing something like this that could be outgrowths in a negative manner that could affect the country? Well, gee, one of the big ones is, you don't have to look too far because you only have to look across the Atlantic Ocean at our neighbors, at our allies, the United Kingdom, that your culture changes. Why? Because you allowed people to come because they wanted the economy. They didn't give two bleeps about your values. They didn't give two bleeps about the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution or just how we run things here in the United States differently than their third world country, which they're coming from. We run on Judeo-Christian values. It doesn't mean you have to be a Christian. It doesn't mean you have to be a Jew, but there's certain values that we've inculcated in our society that you need to follow, whether it's part of your religion or not. So you get on board on the ship or get the fuck off, right? Sorry to cuss, but it's true. If you don't like the ship, you don't come in the first place. But why are they here? Because they want the economy, they want the dough, they want the moolah, and they want the American dream without actually assimilating to the country, the creed, and the values for that American dream. So sooner or later, you're not even going to have the dream in the first place. Gee, what does that look like over there in the UK? Not too damn good. There's a rant for you in the morning, folks. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, absolutely. All righty, moving into the next article. If you haven't already, hit that like button. What are you doing? Help support the show. I make sure I click my own like button. I don't know what that means for me, but for you, it greatly helps support the show. And that's all that we ask of you, folks. Again, this is Friday episode. Everybody saying good morning, Brad. Good morning, Patriots. Good morning to see all of you in the chat. It's always fun. People do realize that the North and South have not been together for over 200 years. Yeah. Where's Shibin? I don't know. Oh, I'll have to reach out to him. I'll have to find Shibby. I miss him. All right. The multi-billion. By the way, I do notice when people aren't here. And it doesn't mean like I'm taking attendance, right? It just always runs in my head. I hope they're okay. Kind of like you guys do with me. Like if I miss a show, some of you like will email me or hit me up on X. You're like, hey, are you okay? Are you alive, man? What's going on? You're scaring me. I think the same way. But people have lives. You can't expect them to be here every day. That's crazy. That's crazy. Alrighty, so there's this new college football kicks off a new era of paid athletes. We covered this like a smidge, just a smidge, and it is altering the way college is being ran, just college in general, like the academics, the recruitment process, but also just college football players. I mean, basically, it's just pro football at this point. College football is just pro football. So the multi-billion-dollar college football season kicks off this weekend, ushering in a new era of paid athletes, an expanded 12-team playoff, and a slate of high-stake opening match. So I'm wondering if they're also changing a couple of these things with the playoff structure and high-stakes match because you got to what? Yeah, you got to pay for all these athletes now. But look, it's going to, I suppose we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll make for more exciting college football. I don't know if you need college football to be more exciting. It has always been more exciting than really the NFL because you're young, you're vibrant, and, you're kind of just throwing your body around a little bit more. The season marks the second year of the expanded 12-team playoff and the first full season since the House v. NCAA settlement, which check this out, which allows universities to pay athletes directly through revenue sharing in addition to existing name, image, and likeness, which is called NIL deals. So these guys are making millions of dollars in college. So now you're bringing in revenue, but guess what? The revenue is going to be going to these college football players. It's not exactly going to be going back into the university, which you would think would be a nice driver for the university to drive down costs for people that are going there. Not anymore. The opening weekend is packed with marquee games. On Saturday, the action kicks off with a preseason #1 Texas, led by quarterback Arch Manning, visiting the reigning national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. So it seems actually a pretty fun game. I don't know if anybody's into sports here, but that actually sounds kind of nice. Crack open a little brewski, sit on the couch, cross the feet, and have a little bit of fun. Almost kind of like what Joe Biden does in the beaches of Delaware. Joe Biden reclines in his chair and he's not drinking, but he's just snoozing. But you can do something similar. They want to get a spot in the NFL. Yeah. They're competing, right? I don't blame them. I mean, that's probably their passion, their dream. But, and please understand, I'm not saying that they shouldn't receive money. That's not what I'm saying. I kind of like the old school where you weren't getting paid and the school was making money off of your likeness because guess what? The school's a good school and you're getting a free education, most likely from a scholarship. Not in all cases. But the action continues through the holiday weekend. So that's what's going on there. There's like kind of 3 big news stories that's happening. Remember, the news cycle usually ends really Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So in the way of news, there's nothing much crazy really taking place. You have JD Vance tells prayer bashing leftists to get new politics. Absolutely. So here he is talking about that.
Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and two beautiful babies just got murdered while praying and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
He was like blown away. I think this is Will Kane, isn't it? Kind of just like, damn. Oh, damn, JD, you giving it to him. Right? Watch how he does it. He goes,
Something very wrong has gone on inside your soul. Will, damn. If you...
Now, he was just really moving, but I like to really play into it. Add a little pizzazz, a little dramatization in there. But also it goes into us losing our country in terms of faith, kind of like what we're seeing in the UK. Our country, I'm going to say this again, was built on Judeo-Christian values. It was. I know people like to play it wasn't, or like to do this stupid little debate tactic where, well, not really, because, well, the founders were really deists and they didn't really believe in a Christian God, but they might have believed in a God. And, well, when you really break it down to its core, what you're going to find is Benjamin Franklin may have mentioned something about it, and Thomas Jefferson and others. But what you really see is the hermeneutics of eschatology really tells us that these people did not really weave that into our Constitution and the founding documents. Of course, it says God, but it's like it's tiring. It is. You could try to pretzel your way into rationalizing anything. Just how trans people do, and rationalizing and pretzeling their way and sometimes chopping up their own body to become a woman or a man. It's still wrong. And I'm not saying you have to be, if you're of some other faith, like you're a Buddhist, doesn't mean you have to be a Christian or a Jew. Am I Jewish? No, I'm a Christian. But there's values that we carry here that should carry forward. And when you try to change that, when you lack a certain faith, well, you lack certain principles in general. Like, for example, I'm not going to say that you even need to believe in God to be a great person. There's a lot of people that deal with morality in a lot better way than a lot of Christians do. And they're complete atheists, and that's fine. Matter of fact, they know a lot of history as well. But the one thing that we have is we have prophecy and fulfillment. And that's one thing that a lot of people in a lot of faiths don't have is prophecy and fulfillment. And us in the Catholic faith and the Christian faith, because it does interweave, have prophecy and fulfillment. And again, I'm going to say it again. Most religions don't have that. And that's a key component because in Christianity, when somebody says they're going to do something and they actually do it, that's very logical and rationale that you could believe in somebody's words. And Christ and God not only did that once, didn't just do it twice, didn't do it 100 times, didn't do it 125 times or 150 or even 200 or maybe even 250. No, well over 300 times over the course of 2,000, well, it depends how you go if you want to start at the beginning, 3,500 years. 3,500 years of scriptures, prophesied and fulfilled all of them. Not some, not missed one, all of them. Over 300 of them. It's a little hard to do over the course of thousands of years, is it not, to actually pull that one off? Yeah, I'm trying to inject a little bit more faith in the podcast because I think it's important because people are lacking it. And if I'm going to bitch, moan, and complain about it that, we're lacking it as a culture, but I'm not willing to talk about it on my show. Well, I'm just contributing to the problem, and I don't like that very much. Well, somebody else that's, talking about prayer and mocking it. Well, you got Gavin Newsom. I don't know what it is with Democrats. So Democrats are not religious anymore or something. I don't know when that happened. That actually used to be a commonality between Republicans and Democrats, is that we were all people that were of faith. Well, Gavin Newsom mocked prayer on Thursday after White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the power of importance of prayer for people of faith. So here's this nut job. Where is it at? Where is his quote at? Newsom commented on Leavitt's remarks, writing on X, "These children were literally praying as they got shot at." That's not the point. And these are the people that are... Gavin Newsom leads like 38 million people in the state of California. I think we have about 38 and some change. We have 38 million people in the state of California. And this idiot isn't able to grasp the concept. And by the way, what do you get out of saying something like that, by the way? Like what good is there coming out of these children were literally praying as they got shot at? I don't understand. When I read that, hand to God, that just tells me that you're not a person of faith. And I'm saying of faith because not everybody practice Christianity and others. I don't understand. Like, what literally is the point of that? Okay, yeah, they were praying. It doesn't mean that Satan is... I mean, wouldn't that be like a prime moment for Satan to do his work? Is go after literally God's people as they're doing something godly, which is praying to their creator? I mean, if anything, we always seen it in movies. I don't know why we're acting stupid. Hollywood has written movies like this all the time, you know, in the Exorcist movies where like the dude is all possessed and then the people run into the church and they think they can't get in there, right? And so the guy, then they're like, oh, you can't come in the church. And then the dude steps in the church like, oh my God. I really don't get the mocking of all this. Really, there's by the way, there's no. It's only a downside for the person saying it. There's no upside. So you're kind of just kicking your own, you know what? Really, really silly stuff. We also have a heated debate breaks out in Wikipedia. I don't know why, but I guess the Wikipedia's editors forum over trans identifying shooter pronouns is there's a battle. There's a war brewing on Wikipedia. Wikipedia's editors forum filled with infighting Wednesday over the appropriate way to refer to the transgender identifying shooter who killed 2 children. It drives me nuts that people that commit heinous evil acts, we have to be nice on how we address them. The dude deleted 2 kids that we know of as of right now, an 8 and 10-year-old. And they're fighting over how they should treat this person. Oh, what should we call them? I have to be rated G on here because I'll get banned if I really call him what I want to. Because he deleted 2 kids. And it's not because the person's transgender that I want to call him what I want to. Because he's evil, because he deleted a bunch of people. And by the way, could be a black guy, white guy, Asian girl. I don't care who the person is. You did that evil act. And I think that not only should they take your body that you probably blew your head off of because you deleted yourself, but I think that it should be burned. And then I think they should take your ashes and try to burn it again. And then I think we should put in some acid and dissolve it so that you are literally evaporated from this earth and don't belong. But because you say things like that, oh, are you saying that because he's trans? No, you idiot. If you listen to the few sentences I said before that, you would see that that's not the case. You have to say things like that because what people do is they'll clip you out of context. Well, I think this is what you really mean. No, I'm telling you what I really mean. I personally don't really care that the person's transgender in the sense of the what I'm going to call them. I think it matters in the sense of clearly a mental illness that led to this heinous act. Well, soon after Robin Westman attacked the church, a small band of Wikipedia editors begin to police the online encyclopedia's article. Oh, here we go. God, it's like the Orwellian. There you go. The arbiters of truth are always out there. Some nut job's going to tell us what's truth and what's false. Love it. The changes started with an editor identified as Super Piano Man 9167. Already don't want to trust him. Already don't want to trust him. Swapping all instances where the shooter was referred to as a male for female terms. The editor also deleted all instances that referred to Westman's birth name, Robert, arguing to bring up the name Westman used before he began to identify as female in dead naming and against Wikipedia policy. So what this is called revisionist history. This is where you try to change what's actually taking place because, well, now you got 2 people playing in a fictitious reality that don't want you to know the actual truth. You have the guy that actually did the heinous act that wants you to play into his fictitious reality of thinking that he is a woman when in actuality he's a male. And then now you got the Wikipedia playing into this guy's delusions as well, and they want everybody else to play into the delusions. Gotcha. But don't worry, Wikipedia is supposed to be a place that you can go for information and actually trustworthy stuff, in air quotes. Wikipedia does not include someone's birth name, even if it is sourced, unless they were notable under that name. To do otherwise is dead naming. Okay. Mm-hmm. The anonymous editor said the risk of dead naming applies to the shooter's pronouns as well. Yeah, sure. Gee, I wonder what side of the aisle you land on. Mm-hmm. Automatically. So they're going at each other. It doesn't matter how sensitive it is. Trust me, I think she was a terrible human being. It's Wikipedia's job to get the facts straight. If she identified as a female, then that's what the Wikipedia should reflect, no matter how disgusting of a person's name someone is. Okay, so if I say that I'm a cat, should you refer to me as a cat whenever I go pass away or do something stupid or whatever? No. We got I'm telling you, it's mental illness. And please don't think that Trump's going to be able to change this during his 4 years. You have entire generations that have grown up with this psycho thinking. And because they grew up with the psycho thinking, that's where the brainwashing comes in that guy was referring to in his manifesto that we read at the first article. And they think it's normal. There's millions of people in this country right now that grew up thinking being transgender is normal because they don't know any otherwise. That's what they've always seen. Nuts, man. It's crazy. I just don't know where this country is going to be at in like 100 years. Remember how I told you guys Donald Trump was never going to fix this country? And I firmly do believe this. I said this at the beginning. So by the way, this is not anything new for those that have been watching me for years. Donald Trump is not going to fix this country. This country is effed no matter what. Because of all the laws, the regulations, everything we're doing, chiseling away at our rights, all this stuff, bringing in third world, everything, changing our culture. It's not a matter if our country is going to collapse. It's a matter of when. And I've said this forever. And we're always increasingly coming closer to that end. Donald Trump is just slowing that end part down. He's, instead of us going full blown rocketing on a ship like Joey was having us do, like Joe Biden just set the sails and just kind of put his arms back and just like, let's do this. Where Donald Trump took the sails down. He's like, okay, we're going to slow this ship down. I don't want this country to end as quickly as I think it's going to be ending. So it's not just me that thinks that, by the way. If you read a lot of like Thomas Sowell would probably say the same thing if I remember correctly in one of his interviews. Because I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's not that I'm looking for confirmation bias, but I was shocked because I was like, wow, he actually agrees with something that was just a theory of mine. By the way, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Bradford says, the problem is the God of this world that the world worships is called Satan, the devil, and the demons, they rule your head. Well, I mean, God's trying to take back rightfully what's his, you know what I mean? And Satan, you're right, is ruling earth, is ruling this world, and God wants it back. This is God created this place, and his creation took it. And now there's a spiritual battle taking place. And for some reason, the Democrats, I'm not saying all of them, because there's a lot of Democrats that are people of faith, but predominantly the progressive left can't wrap their head around that there's still angels and demons that are battling, and that through the power of prayer, that, by the way, in the scriptures, it actually talks about how prayer is offered up to God. There's almost like it's almost like telephone. If you read the scriptures, it's almost telephone where your prayer goes into like a figurative incense bowl and it's lit. And it's basically your prayer is taken from your mouth to an angel to the heavens that gives it to God and Christ. That's how it's described in the scriptures. And so, and by the way, God will turn his ear to your prayers if you are doing certain things he doesn't like. He'll actually ignore you, which actually appears common throughout the scriptures from the Old Testament to the New Testament. He will actually ignore your prayers. Everybody thinks, well, just because I'm a Christian, he's going to listen to me. No, it's not what he says in the scriptures. Oh boy, no. His own people, he turned his ear to it. They can't hear you. But you get what I mean. So the power of prayer is effective because it's actually angels that are taking that prayer and then bringing it up to the heavens. And, they're like the mailman. They're like the mailman. Shout out to all the mailmen out there, male women. It's true, by the way. I'm not being satirical. That's actually a thing. All righty. Okay. Wow, Dave. Dave, I cannot read that. Krager's probably eating that up right now. Yes. Yes. Jeez. If you I can't read that. But that is hilarious, dude. If you want to see what Dave wrote, you have to go over to Rumble. I can't read that, but dude, that is freaking hilarious. Give me one moment. I got to collect my thoughts. I know you guys are like, just read it, Brad. I can't. Yeah, dude. Dave, that might be the funniest thing you've ever said, bro. Okay. What's a fucking dude? PG it, Brad? Okay. Okay, so screw it, I'll just say it. So we're talking about the power of prayer and how it's effective and getting your prayers answered, right? So Dave writes in the chat over at Rumble, "Dear God, just 2 more inches, please." Totally ignored. That's my community. What does it say about my community? Just 2 more inches, please. God. We're so mature sometimes, aren't we? No, I just read it. I'll give it to you guys. If I get whatever, it's not that bad. It's just we're talking about a serious subject. We're talking about Christianity. It's not for a Christian, but it's a joke. Okay, that's a dark MAGA thing. Oh God, he could mean his height. Yeah, sure, sure. Mahila said he could be referring to his height. Sure. Oh God, I love hanging out with you guys. It's too much fun. Oh boy. Let me collect my thoughts. I gotta still get into this thing. What the hell's going on with the Abrego, man? They're making freaking posters of this guy now. Like he's God, who is that guy that George Floyd? Is this the next George Floyd? All right, here we go. The left's favorite misunderstood illegal alien gang member and alleged wife beater, Maryland man Kilmore Abrego Garcia, may soon find himself deep in Africa courtesy of Trump-sponsored one-way ticket to Uganda. Tom Homan came out yesterday and said that he's going to deport this guy. Like, this guy's... There's... By the way, we said this, did we not? When this was first all happening, when they deported this guy to El Salvador, and the media lost it over this guy, we, as a community, have always said this, as the Trump administration, is just because the Democrats say they want him back for his due process, there is no realm in which this guy's going to stay here. Even if you try, there is no realm. I mean, maybe there's another universe, right? Like a parallel universe or something. Hell, I don't know. Multiverse where the guy gets to stay here, but not in ours. So it's either him going to Costa Rica if he was to plead guilty, which he declined. So he's not going to Costa Rica, meaning, bro, you had the option between two places. You chose Uganda. So he's going to Uganda. Why? Because he doesn't belong here. I know it sounds mean and harsh and maybe cold-hearted, but you don't have the paperwork to be here, bud. Okay? And by the way, if you are truly trafficking people, both adults and children, minors, and I know the Democrats look the other way, right? Like this. It's not a good thing that you're trafficking minors. And it's not a good thing that you allegedly beat the crap out of your wife. I would never lay a hand on my wife. Ever. I don't understand Democrats thinking on this. Oh, he's a good guy. I know I repeat myself a lot. I'm very self-aware of this. Well, the national who entered the U.S. illegally in 2011 has become the left's cause of, they're celebrating over him. Over the summer after the Trump administration ramped up deportations. Nothing really here other than the fact that I'm almost positive this guy's going to Uganda. Couldn't even tie his shoes right, unfortunately. Look at this. Is this a thing? Where's Danielle? Is Danielle in here? Yeah, Danielle isn't here. Danielle, when you're being transported, is it a normal thing to not tie their shoes? Like when you're leaving, right? Because he's being escorted out because he gets to be free for now. You know what I mean? He gets to be free. Are your shoes not supposed to be tied? I just realized that. Let me know. I always have people that are, see how I go to other people for professional advice because I don't know everything. Q's like our legal correspondent. Danielle's like our police correspondent. Jeff's like our accounting correspondent. Dizzy's our music correspondent. And then, we got other people in here that are just our correspondents. You're all correspondents in my eyes. Yes. There you go. There's something to put on your resume. Correspondent to the Bald Brad Show. I like it. That's a nice ring to it. Oh, I got a Scott Jennings clip for you guys. I forgot. Let me get to it. I saw that. Where are we at here? All righty. So here's Scott talking about the mental illness in this country, and he's talking about the shooting.
Well, I think the first question you have to ask is, why did it happen? I don't think it happened because of guns. I think it happened because somebody who was clearly suffering from severe mental illness
had access to weapons that would allow them to carry out a terrible shooting.
And the mental illness was encouraged.
But Scott, what about people who don't have mental illness?
I don't think we can tiptoe around this issue. And when you look at the messages that were written in some of the materials and on the weapons that we've seen, I mean, this person obviously was in a dark dark place.
Obviously.
And I want to know,
obviously.
I'm not sure the government is in that person's life enough to know, but his parents are.
But what
his
about,
family is.
Scott, what about people who don't have mental illness? We have a huge gun violence issue here in the United States. We lead in gun violence.
But the issue today is quite obviously mental illness. And
if you take away the mental illness, it still leaves the guns.
Well, I think the first.
Powwow time. Everybody come in hot. Yep. Come on. Get in here. If you're out in the kitchen, because I'm in your ear, come on. Powwow time. Everybody here? Good. Okay, so the first thing we need to address is that they take out the laces. It's a safety thing. Understood. Okay, gotcha. The second thing we need to address is this guy here. Come here. Well, we got a massive crime problem with guns in this country. If you remove the mental illness, you'll still have the guns. This guy's a dweeb, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't mean to be an asshole, but he is. Sir, if you removed everybody off this planet, some alien invasion took place, and removed every single human being on this planet, guess what would still be here? Guns would be here. And you know what would happen? The guns would not start killing the other guns. I know it sounds silly. Well, no, they're not going to start firing off themselves. The guns are not going to start just walking around going, oh, look what they got rid of. We're not going to go after them anymore. Now that's very silly, and you understand what I mean. The other part of this is, this is the big one. This is the one I've been working up and building up the energy to. Like, what is he going to say? If you're committing a crime, guess what you probably have? Mental illness. Yeah. If you're committing a crime with a gun, you are not stable. Yeah. You want to know why it's a crime? Because it's probably hurting somebody else and harming somebody else. And that it's not normal. See, we usually do things, to keep law and order, but it's not normal to commit a crime. He doesn't understand that. I know that we do. He doesn't understand that. This bald guy. He's making us bald guys look bad. Yeah, sir. If you're committing a crime with a firearm, probably have a mental illness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing how a lot of my followers have guns. None of them are committing crimes. And if they ever do commit a crime, I will talk shit about them. And yeah, I'll say they have a mental illness. So should anybody in the chat go out and commit crime? No.
Scott, what about people who don't have mental illness? We have a huge gun violence issue here in the United States. We lead in gun violence.
It's funny that we got a huge gun violence problem, but yet you don't want any police officers to go into Chicago because it's racist. Yeah, it's racist. Gotcha. Oh, where did I get that from? That was from Brandon Johnson. From Brandon Johnson. All right, let's get into some random news. It's 6:04. We still got some time. Let's have a little bit of fun here. The co-founder of Cracker Barrel came out. No, this is not Joe Biden. I know some of you were like, Joe Biden deteriorated more than we thought. No, this is a nice old man that, by the way, popping shirt there, dude. That is like some 70s era shirt. I love that. That's some disco, man. You get somebody on acid right now, they're going to be thinking those are eyeballs moving around your shirt. Like, what the hell? This guy is the co-founder of Cracker Barrel, and he's speaking out over their stupid rebrand. Check out what this guy says, because he's not wrong.
Logo rolled out the other day.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nothing. That's a bland nothing. It's pitiful.
Do you think she knows the story of Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I heard she was a Taco Bell, but what's Taco Bell know about a Cracker Barrel? And country food. And the food is something that you need to work on. Spending $700 million to do that is all I've been doing. Not just throwing money out the street.
Yep.
Logo rolled out the other day.
Pause. Do you think the CEO or anybody in that company called this man up for his advice? I like the guy too. The guy literally co-founder of Cracker Barrel. Because their stock was going down, which is why I think they were doing a rebranding. Wouldn't you think that it might just be a good idea to think, hey, let's go talk to the guy that branded the thing in the first place that led to such a popular chain? I'm not saying he's going to be right, but wouldn't it be? I don't know. It just makes so much sense to me to go reach out to certain people for their wisdom. I don't understand why we're always stuck in our bubble and we don't just reach out. Like if I ever make a decision, I usually try to reach out to as many people as I can for as much information before I ever make a very big decision. Folks, this is a $700 million decision. And even he immediately looked at the paper and he's like, what the hell? He's like, what the hell is that? That's his look on his face. By the way, shout out to this freaking thing. Look at that. This is probably one of those uranium ones, right? That have like a little bit of uranium in them. And if you put a light to it, I like this guy, dude. This is a cool house, bro. This is like grandma and grandpa's house. You know what I mean? Where you're hearing the clock tick and you're sleeping on the couch and you just know this place is haunted, right? You just know they've seen some shit that they're not telling you about. Everybody slept over at grandma and grandpa's house when they were kids, man. And you're hearing the clock. And then it's late, right? It's in the middle of the night, and then you hear the floorboards. And nothing. There's nothing there. And then you're trying to pull the blankies up. You know it ain't gonna save you, but you just feel better over it. And you're just like, fuck. Yep. Or when you're looking in this mirror, you think there's gonna be somebody looking back at you like Bloody Mary. We've all been there. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You've all been there. It's like the inside of Cracker Barrel. There you go, Chris. Yes. See, you know what? You're right. You're right. Yeah, it does have some pizzazz. I don't know what the hell this is over here on the wall, but I think there's a big problem in this country that we don't spend enough time with the elderly. Like talking to them. I remember specifically when my grandfather passed when I was very, very young. He was in Pearl Harbor, World War II. And dude, it's still like one of the things I wish I was able to talk to him, because the amount of freaking knowledge and just crazy stories that he would have that I could sit down and just pick his brain. I want every freaking detail. I want if there was rust on that 30 cal you were shooting in Pearl Harbor. I want to know where the bullets entered the wings of the Japanese Zero planes. He told my grandmother, because I did ask her when I was like 12. Thank God I did, was, hey, did he tell you anything about that day? He actually said that the planes were so low on Pearl Harbor that he was able to see the faces of the Japanese in the pilot seat. But the questions I would have asked this guy, that's how I am when I'm talking to older people, man. I reach into your brain and give me all of it. I remember my buddy, my best friend, he actually passed like 2 years after high school. Not that that's a part of the story, but shout out to Nick. I miss that guy. Passed in 2009. His grandmother was a German that came to America like right around World War II, I believe, when I was talking to her. She's really, really old, a sweet lady. And I was in the kitchen with her for like 2 hours at my buddy's house. I was supposed to be hanging out with him. I was hanging out with his grandma for like 2 hours just in the kitchen, just soaking in all the knowledge. Just talking about how she was called a kraut here and everybody mistreated her and what the times were like. And then even Nick's mom came in and goes, Brad, if she's bothering you, you could just, let her know. She'll leave you alone. I'm like, no, I could talk to her forever. I just feel bad that I'm keeping her standing up. We need to spend more time with elderly people and absorb all their knowledge, because they've been through a lot of trials and errors so that we don't have to. And if you just listen to them for a while, you will learn a lot. But because we always want to freaking run our mouths as young people, we know everything. Now we're in the state that we're in. Maybe it's sad. And by the way, I don't blame elderly people for not wanting to speak up, because when you speak up, they assault you, they punch you in the back of the head, they knock you out, you break your hip, and you're done. I'm going to say it. I am not wrong. There's certain things where I'm so sure I'm right on that I'm not willing to budge, and that's one of them. Well, here's breaking news. I didn't even know this was a thing. Trump cancels and revokes former president. Oh, now I'm pulling a Joe Biden. Maybe she was the president. Maybe Kamala was. Revoked former Vice President Kamala Harris extended Secret Service protection effective September 1st. So, was that Monday? Canceling an extension quietly authorized by outgoing President Joe Biden. I don't think Joe even knew. Joe wasn't signing anything. Joe wasn't making any decisions. The move, justified as a cost savings measure, comes amid security concerns as Harris prepares for a high-profile book tour, drawing criticism from California Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Well, you guys didn't really care when Donald Trump wasn't getting his Secret Service detail that led to him getting shot in the head. Yeah, you didn't care then. But once it starts affecting, you're right. Yeah, once it starts affecting Democrats in a negative way, now we all have to make a fussy about it. But, when Donald Trump has multiple assassination attempts on his life, we'll turn the other way. Not a big deal. Oh, yeah. Hey, he was calling for more detail for a long time. And guess what? He got shot in the head. And thank God that God himself reached down and turned Donald Trump's head, because he wouldn't be with us today. And we'd probably be stuck with freaking Joe Biden or somebody else. I still think there's more to that story. I still think there's more to it. I think our own government was involved in that in some way, shape, or form. No way. In some way, shape, or form, you ain't telling me that some teenage little shithead was able to get on the roof and line up a shot that close with people screaming and everything else, and nobody wanted to do anything about it. Like all those things failed. I don't think so. Sorry. No. If we're that incompetent, we got major problems in this country, because it starts with the Secret Service to protect our number one asset in this country. It makes me really wonder, if we ever went to war, if we would win one. Because if we can't even do something that small and get it right, makes you wonder if you could do something big like a world war and get it right. Just saying. I think there's something to that, man. I really do. And I hope Bongino and I hope Kash Patel find it, because it's some sketchy stuff. Real sketchy stuff. All righty. So what else do we have here in the news? What is this lady saying? Trump's labor secretary says 500,000 new jobs have been created since January, all taken by native-born Americans. This is huge. Here we go.
500,000 new jobs since the president took office. And I think that that's key. All of those native-born jobs were really focused on the American men and women of this country who built this country. And that's what we're honoring on Labor Day, is understanding that for the last 250 years, this economy has grown. America has grown at the hands of the men and women of this country. And so it's exciting to be around. I will hit, by the end of today, 32 states out of my 50. Wow. I'm in the New England states. It's been great to talk to the firefighters. I was in Maine talking to, the lobstermen and women. I mean, the key to that is that the president is focused on growing the economy, protecting America first. The America First policies are important. And as I move through this process, I'm going to see a dairy in Vermont this afternoon, General Dynamics, who build our submarines, right here in Connecticut. And I think that that's important to be on the ground. The president has given us the latitude as secretaries to go out into this country and, really talk to business owners, talk to them about what their issues are and the concerns that they have. Yeah. We know that there has been some uncertainty over time, and that is now, that consumer confidence is up. I look about the blue collar boom. I focus on that a lot. That not all Americans will go out and get a 4-year degree, but they'll focus on those 2-year degrees to earn while you learn. And we're seeing that blue collar boom, and those wages have gone up 1.4% since the president took office. So let me ask.
Again, we want to be a little bit careful when we're talking about wages going up. It sounds all nice and dandy, but when wages go up, so does usually a cost or service. Now, I do believe that you should do build in America, buy America. But if you're going to do that, I don't complain necessarily when I'm buying an American good about the price, is because I know I'm supporting my country rather than a third world country or China or something like that. So with that being said, we're going to end it there. I'm going to try to get to work a little bit early today, but we'll maybe be back here this weekend. We will see. We'll obviously be back Monday morning, which is Labor Day for the Bald Brad Show. So we'll make sure we wake up bright and early and do a show then. But I hope all of you have a lovely weekend. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, X, all these platforms so you're up to date on what's going on. And furthermore, check out Spooky Adventures, my second channel, where we cover the paranormal, the unexplained, and the supernatural. It's very fun. It is growing. We just had a video. I think the video... I posted a video on TikTok on my Spooky Adventures channel. It has like 400,000 views. I only had like 100 followers, hit like 400,000 views. It's crazy. I don't even know how that happened. But anyways, that's a thing. So appreciate all of you being here with me, and pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump, and I'll see you later here on the Will Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.
And, really
build in America, buy America. But if you're going to do that, I don't complain necessarily when I'm buying an American good about the price, is because I know I'm supporting my country rather than a third world country or China or something like that. So with that being said, we're going to end it there. I'm going to try to get to work a little bit early today, but we'll maybe be back here this weekend. We will see. We'll obviously be back Monday morning, which is Labor Day for the Bald Brad Show. So we'll make sure we wake up bright and early and do a show then. But I hope all of you have a lovely weekend. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, X, all these platforms so you're up to date on what's going on. And furthermore, check out Spooky Adventures, my second channel, where we cover the paranormal, the unexplained, and the supernatural. It's very fun. It is growing. We just had a video. I think the video... I posted a video on TikTok on my Spooky Adventures channel. It has like 400,000 views. I only had like 100 followers, hit like 400,000 views. It's crazy. I don't even know how that happened. But anyways, that's a thing. So appreciate all of you being here with me, and pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump, and I'll see you later here on the Will Brad Show. Here with me, 400,000 views. It has like 400,000 views. I only had like 100 followers, hit like 400,000 views. It's crazy. I don't even know how that happened. But anyways, that's a thing. So appreciate all of you being here with me.